Okay, everybody, story 27, part 2, beginning. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled deep within the rolling hills of Ireland, there lived a young steampunk rat named Frodo. Frodo was known throughout the village for his fiery attitude and his insatiable curiosity. He was always eager to learn about the ancient traditions and folklore of his ancestors, and he had a particular fascination with the festival of Samhain. And now for our Samhain mantra. The veil separating the world of the living to the dead has parted, and the last harvest has ended. I cast my circle and invite into it my ancestors and my loved ones who have passed through the veil. Come to me, and together let us celebrate your time here on earth. Ciao!
He was always eager to learn about the ancient traditions and folklore of his ancestors, and he had a particular fascination with the festival of Samhain. Samhain was a special time of year, marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It was a time when the veil between the living and the spirit world was said to be at its thinnest, allowing the souls of the departed to return to the mortal realm for a brief visit. It was also a time for feasting, bonfires, and storytelling. As the days grew shorter and the nights colder, Frodo's anticipation for Samhain deepened. He spent weeks preparing for the festival, gathering herbs, decorating his home with carved turnips, and crafting his own costume to honor the spirits of the past. His costume was a replica of a Celtic warrior's attire, complete with a wooden sword and a cloak made of dark green fabric. On the eve of Samhain, the entire village gathered at the sacred stone circle where the festival was held each year. A massive bonfire crackled and roared at the center, casting flickering shadows on the ancient stones. Frodo and his fellow villagers danced and sang around the fire, their voices echoing through the night. As the hours passed and the fire burned lower, a hush fell over the crowd. It was time for the storytellers to share their tales of the supernatural and the mysterious. Frodo's heart raced with excitement as he listened to stories of ancient spirits, fairies, and the brave heroes who had faced them. Then, an elderly storyteller named Seamus stood up. His long white beard flowed down to his chest, and his eyes gleamed with wisdom. He began to speak of a legend that had been passed down through generations.
Long ago,
Seamus began.
There was a brave warrior who, like Frodo here, donned a costume on Samhain night. He ventured into the dark woods, where the spirits were said to gather. He carried with him a special offering, a silver goblet filled with honey mead, a favorite of the spirits.
Frodo was captivated by Seamus's tale, his eyes fixed on the flickering flames. As the story unfolded, he learned that the warrior had encountered the spirits and shared the mead with them. In return, the spirits granted him a single wish. Without hesitation, the warrior wished for peace and prosperity for his village. As the legend went, the village thrived for generations after that fateful Samhain night, and the memory of the brave warrior lived on through the ages. Inspired by the story, Frodo decided to follow in the footsteps of the ancient warrior. With his wooden sword in hand and his heart filled with courage, he ventured into the dark woods on that Samhain night. He found a quiet grove and placed a silver goblet filled with honey mead on a mossy stone, just as the legend described. Frodo closed his eyes and whispered his wish for his village's well-being. In that moment, he felt a gentle breeze, and a sense of peace washed over him. He knew that the spirits had heard his plea. When Frodo returned to the village, he found that his fellow villagers had been blessed with an abundance of good fortune for the coming year. Crops flourished, and harmony prevailed. Frodo's bravery and his act of honoring the spirits on that Samhain night were celebrated for years to come, ensuring that the festival remained a cherished tradition in their village. And so, the spirit of Samhain continued to thrive, a time when the living and the departed could come together in celebration, just as Frodo had hoped when he ventured into the woods that magical night.
Hi everybody, this is story 27, Samhain, part 2, end. When Frodo returned to the village, he found that his fellow villagers had been blessed with an abundance of good fortune. And so, the spirit of Samhain continued to thrive, a time when the living and the departed could come together in celebration, just as Frodo had hoped when he ventured into the woods that magical night. Ciao!